For about 30 years, I carried around what I thought was a much cherished compliment from my dad. It turns out I'd misunderstood what he meant. Now, I did an episode a while back called You Don't Act on Reality. This is Your Greatest Freedom. It was about how we don't act on reality. We act on what we imagine is reality. This principle shapes how we interpret events and circumstances. I thought I would share a couple of anecdotes from my own life that perfectly illustrate how powerfully our interpretations shape our reality and our actions. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Self-Control from Fitness to Flourishing. The first story happened when I was just a kid. My dad would take us out fishing and camping. We were a very outdoorsy family. One time, I was off on my own. Not very far, obviously. I was just young, probably 6 or 7 years old. My mom or dad was calling for some reason. Maybe it was time to eat, or they just wanted to know where I was. I started running back. I felt the branches whipping past my face, heard my feet crashing through the underbrush, snapping twigs and small branches in my haste. I always liked to imagine that I was very agile, very fast, so I tried to run as fast as I could through the woods. When I finally got back, maybe it was seconds, maybe it was a minute, my dad looked at me and said, "You're like a moose." The pride that surged through me was incredible. Yes, excellent. I'm like a moose. Powerful, strong, fast. I lived with that compliment in my head for a long time, revisiting this pleasant memory again and again. Then, in my mid-30s, something occurred to me. A realization hit me and I laughed out loud. Wait a second. I think he was insulting me, teasing me a little bit. I had been running through the brush, stepping on twigs, snapping branches in my haste to get there as fast as I could. He probably could hear me before he could see me. When a moose runs through the forest, it doesn't dodge obstacles. It just breaks everything in its path. So I was just like a moose. I asked my dad about this, but he didn't remember the incident. And why would he? To my young brain, that was a monumental moment. To him, he just threw out a little comment and went about his business. When I told him my two interpretations, he laughed and said, "Yeah, that second one is more likely." He had been teasing me, just having a little fun with a kid making a racket in the woods. The second story is even more revealing. There was a girl in my high school. She was a year younger than I was, and I was completely infatuated with her. But I had no courage, no game. I was shy and I could barely talk to girls unless they spoke to me first. After I graduated, a buddy of mine knew one of her friends. He knew I liked this girl, so he set up a gathering where we could meet. Just a few of us playing board games, listening to music. But here's the thing. He told me she was interested in me as well, that she had noticed me at school. This was a complete lie, though I didn't discover that until years later. So, armed with this false knowledge, everything changed. We met, played some board games, listened to some music, and chatted at her friend's home. The confidence I felt was powerful. When I asked about her life, she mentioned she played badminton at the local college. So I said, "Hey, maybe I'll pop by sometime. When do you play?" She told me, and I went and watched her play. I chatted with her afterward. She always seemed a little standoffish, and I thought she was just shy. Since I, in quotes, knew she liked me, I interpreted every rebuff as shyness, every moment of indifference as bashfulness. I was bold, funny, persistent. When she seemed uninterested, I doubled down, thinking, I just need to help her overcome her natural reserve. I kept showing up in her life, at her workplace, at badminton games, getting to know her a little bit at a time. And eventually, I asked her to go steady, as I think I put it back then. To my amazement, she said yes. We were together for many years. After we'd been dating for a while, my buddy confessed. Hey, remember that thing I told you? That was a lie. But here's what's fascinating. When I later asked her why she decided to go out with me, she said it was because of my confidence and bold interest in her. My persistence, which came from believing she already liked me, actually made her interested. Both of these stories reveal the same truth. We don't respond to what's actually happening. We respond to what we think is happening. In the first case, my imagining that my father was recognizing how strong and agile I was sustained me for decades. In the second, my imagining her interest gave me the confidence to act in ways that eventually created the very reality I had imagined. This principle affects every area of our lives. Consider your own experiences. What stories are you telling yourself about how others see you? How might those interpretations be shaping your actions right now? Are you holding back because you imagine rejection, or pushing forward because you imagine acceptance? The key insight isn't that we should abandon all interpretation. That is impossible. This is how we live in the world. Instead, we should recognize when we're acting on imagination rather than evidence and ask ourselves, is this interpretation serving me? Is it leading me toward the outcomes I want? Sometimes, as with my relationship story, acting on an empowering imagination can create positive results. Other times, as with the moose incident, our interpretations simply color our memories and self-perception. The power lies in becoming conscious of this process. We're all constantly writing the story of our reality. You will make up stories. The interpretations you make of the circumstances and events in your life can't be avoided. Choose your interpretations wisely. They don't just shape how you see the world. They shape how you act in the world, and that changes what actually becomes real. That's it for today. Catch you next time.